keep marching on. Look then on page 68 at the famous Bloom's taxonomy. Have you heard about Bloom's taxonomy? Some of you have. Some of you haven't. If you have not had Bloom's taxonomy in your life so far, welcome to it. It's actually a very useful thing. So there's two versions here, one on the left, one on the right. And if you have the beautiful Technicolor version of this, it's all the best, right? The old taxonomy goes back a long way to the 50s. The newer one has been revised on the right. They go from the bottom to the top, from lower level cognitive activities to higher. Bloom has a taxonomy for other forms of learning as well, but this is really cognitive goals, right? So this is just thinking goals, not the other domains. We'll just leave those aside for the moment. This is the one that's gotten the most use. And it's extremely influential, and it actually can be a very helpful tool. So if you think from I'm just going to deal with the right-hand column for the interest of, or the right-hand pyramid, if you're with me, right? Starting with remembering, the point is that remembering is a lower level, simpler, easier, more basic cognitive task, and it's good and important, and other things build on it. Understanding, in terms of comprehension, is good. Applying is good and more difficult, and you're getting more advanced. It's becoming more challenging, right? Analyzing is also going to be good. It's going to get more complicated as you go. Evaluating is a higher level task yet, building up this ladder, so to speak. And the peak of the thing is creating. Interesting. So with a particular piece of knowledge, if you're merely just got a certain kind of data that you're remembering, that's a lower level task and a lower level accomplishment. If you're able to take the knowledge and create with it, you've actually reached something which for them is really the top of the pinnacle, right? Create something new with it. Apply it to a new situation, right? Take it somewhere else. Very interesting.
Yep. The knowledge is going to be replaced with the remembering.
Yeah, for various reasons that don't really matter. So I'll just leave that. Yeah. In a sense, the answer is because the previous way that they construed knowledge was largely about remembering. That's the way that the old system worked. So the new is clearer, and it's also a bit changed in that the destination of the goal is really a bit different. That's the main difference, is look at the creating piece that's there. So on page 69, there's using some of the old vocabulary, some of what was involved in the sort of different steps along the way. Bottom of 69 for the visually inclined, I've got the funny little mind map there, beautiful in all of its arteries of the cognitive domains, right? And then if you look over on 71, this is just an example of how Bloom's taxonomy relates to Twitter. Seeing as Twitter's been in the news a fair bit recently with the habits of a certain international leader who's addicted to Twitter, apparently. That's just apropos of the moment, but you can see how this would work from remember to understand to apply to analyze to evaluate to create. That's just an illustration of the meaning of those terms, really. Right?
Twitter is not properly English.
What?
Twitter, those messages are not properly.
They are tweets, but yeah, I don't think the grammar of that has been violated on this. Yes, summarized tweets. Yeah. Right. So all the way up to this creation. I hate to even think about creating a fake but accurate Twitter profile. We have enough fake news, I'd say, already. Page 74 is a wonderful list. I'm kind of the king of lists. Self-proclaimed, crown myself king of lists. This is about critical thinking. And we're just going to keep going for a little while and maybe circle back to this if it comes up, right? It's super important, right? And over here, what we're really talking about, I mean, what Gardner is going to talk about as synthesizing is going to include critical thinking to a large extent. if you do think about the way that our world works, you've got to really exercise a lot of critical thinking. Does this really hold water? Is what I'm being told really accurate? Right? How do you think about that? So there's some resources there. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep us going. There's some other pages here, and look at page 78. Another scholar named Costa has got this wonderful little graphic that I find entertaining with my grandmother standing outside the front door in her apron. It's quite fun. Again, what those pages give you to look back on is lots of different language to put around what do you want people to learn. Right? If you say, I want people to learn this, I want people to understand this, it's giving you some tools to work with to refine, oh, it's more like this, it's less like that. Okay? So Costa's got some series of questions that are along those lines for you, all right?